In the fast-paced modern city-state of Singapore, where millions of people commute daily to school and work during the rush hours, it is no wonder we are caught up in the hustle and bustle of life. With tight deadlines to meet, meetings to attend to, and examinations to prepare for, it is almost a challenge for us to slow down. Yet, in this lively, cosmopolitan city-state, few places in Singapore are still able to maintain its natural peace.
And one such place is the Ing He Hui Guan, located near Holland Village in the middle of a housing estate, and seemingly detached from the daily happenings around it. This land lies in solidarity with its environment. And yet, for over 100 years, this place has stood strong, untouched by the developments around it. In this documentary, we will uncover the history of this cemetery and the uncertainty that surrounds it. What is going to happen to Singapore's last standing Hakka Cemetery? The pioneers of the Ing He Hui Guan at Telok Ayer Street comprised of migrants from China's Guangdong province, and the beginnings of the Hakka Cemetery can be traced back to 1822. In 1887, after the Ing He Hui Guan bought over 100 hectares of land situated between the current Buona Vista and Commonwealth areas, it was named Shuang Long Shan, or Double Dragon Hill. Apart from the cemetery, the premises also include a memorial hall, a columbarium, and a temple. With an estimation of 2,700 tombstones, this land was chosen as a burial ground for the Hakkas because the building of cemeteries on the top of hills was deemed to be highly auspicious by the Chinese. Moving forward, with almost half of the 99 years lease left, talks and plans have already begun to make way for developments within the next few years.
For nearly 2 centuries, the Hakka Cemetery has navigated through the rigors of time, from the colonial period into the modern era. Each tombstone tells a story of its own, and it is without a doubt that this place holds a special significance for both the living and the dead. Let's now speak to the ex-secretary of the Hakka Association to learn more about the Hakka Cemetery as well as its fate in modern Singapore.
There are two types. One is a smaller one. Smaller one is an individual tombstone. There are about 2,700 tombstones. In front, there are 30 bigger one, larger tombstone. So that one was built by us. It's also not built by the housing board area. Built by the individual Hakka Association. The smaller one, individual one, smaller one is an individual one, built by the housing board. The 30 of them not built by the housing, built by the individual Hakka Association. And I think just when you were talking about our relationship with the neighborhood, the neighborhood only this side lah. The other side quite far. As I told you just now, they did complain lah. A few years ago because I was busy, and then we have got a lot of crows. You know crows or not? That one very disgusting. When they come and make noise, and then they are not scared of people also. No? Yeah. So after that, the government shot, kill all of them, and then the neighbor complained because of that lah. They said the food left behind they look ugly, distasteful. Then they look on top. That's quite true. So after the complaint, I make sure the thing will be clear. Immediately, not immediately, after some time, the people who pray have left. So we clear away their the things for praying one, like food stuff, or paper, or chopstick, or candlestick, or this. So now very good already, no more complaint. Only recently, I think they heard about we are going to develop the area. Maybe they are scared, then we will change the landscape or something. So they will send an officer every 2 months to come and take photo outside, see whether any changes or what. So I asked them, hey, I see you very open here. Why you have nothing to do? Don't say that. My job, I asked you to come and take photograph. So they want to see no changes. Make sure once you want to change, once you want to do some construction or some erecting anything, so you have to inform them. If you don't inform, they will come and take action. You understand? That's why the other thing they don't bother. Only when you want to develop, then they will come and see. Why you don't never consult us? So as I told you, we are not the full ownership of the land. Although we tell everybody, these are my land, these are our land, our Hakka land. But actually the final authority still lays on the SDB.
With no more than 60 years left in its lease, no concrete plans have been made for the future. But right now, let's check in with some of the residents to see what they think.
30岁来这里要42年了。
然后你有没有
没有感觉？
没有感觉？
半夜我窗口打开，我想找不到。
找到这个也蛮多多。
一定要我求他了，他求他，我这里什么鬼都不用怕。
你在这里工作多久了
2年。
2年啊。你来这里工作之前，你知道这里有坟场吗？
知道。
知道。可是你对这个坟场的概念，还有那么靠近你们做生意卖东西的地方，你觉得有很像冲突之类的吗？
不会。
不会啊？为什么呢？
因为我做我的生意啊，他在那边睡觉嘛。
所以不会很像有点搬当之类的啦。
不要想就没有事。他们保护我们买多多做多多。
那很像清明的时候还是那个鬼节的时候，这里会不会比较多人？然后人家又开始烧东西，会影响吗？像你觉得？
会。他们车全部放外面嘛，人去那拜他祖先。拜他祖先，人7月，他们比较多，我们也有参加嘛。
Maybe about 10 years. 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite long. So when you actually bought the house, do you have any like thoughts about knowing that there's cemetery nearby?
We know that there's cemetery nearby.
Okay.
Yeah. This is like I understand it's tombstone only. There's no real urn or anything.
During Qingming and all that,
Yeah.
right? Do you have any like complaints or like people around here like complain that it's like noisy and stuff?
Okay, but not that I know of. Yeah, but Qingming is also a problem because a lot of people are here burning the incense.
So it's not really.
It's a general thing. It's not just for them.
On a whole, it seems like residents living in this area have gotten used to the presence of the cemetery, painting a harmonious image of coexistence between the living and the dead. With almost 50 years of lease remaining, would a possible conservation plan be looming?
If you want to redevelop what you want to develop, how simple was the guideline? You only can build clinics, children's home, book home and all this. You cannot build commercial, condo you may build, but not the commercial subject job more. People will think twice. If I don't do it, my investment I cannot cover. Because folks home and the clinic and the boys home surely not making money one, isn't it? There's something like charity. That's why not successful. There is another group of people only interested in smaller scale. That is develop the memorial hall. Memorial hall behind also got the empty land, the clean ground. Yeah. Comply also can do something. Last time one chap came, but I think 3 times they came also not successful. Because they want this, they also want to make money. They want to build old folks home. And then they ask us to take concession. We also can help, but we also need money to pay for our expenses. Because 4 workers maintaining the place, who pay it? That's why we want to generate income to pay for it. So also not successful. That's why until now, since then, nobody talked about developing the place. Only recently, I can say I'm no more active there. Now a change of leadership. They want to develop the direction into Wenhua Guan Cultural Center. The 2 projects also need millions of dollars to build. You understand? I don't know he said that is his ambition during his term of office. Now almost 1 year past already, still no news about it. So if you want to build, of course it's also good Singapore has more Hakka Cultural Center but I don't know whether. But it's not easy if you want to develop Commonwealth area, there are certain hurdles you have to clear. One is how you are going to face people who have ancestors buried under the ground cemetery. That one is a bit complicated.
As we can see, the Hakka Association recognizes that in a land-scarce Singapore, developing the cemetery into a cultural park might be the only way to preserve this burial ground as well as its Hakka culture and history. After all, such cemetery-turned-cultural park has been established in other parts of the world. One such example is the Mount Auburn Cemetery in the United States. Established in 1831 by Massachusetts Horticultural Society to solve an urban land use problem created by an increasing number of burials in the city, Mount Auburn Cemetery was once a rural burial ground. Today, it serves a dual purpose of being an active cemetery, where families still continue to commemorate their loved ones, and also functions as a museum with nearly 2 centuries worth of architecture and landscape design. And if you haven't heard about this yet, Singapore's very own Japanese Cemetery Park, located in Hougang, is the largest Japanese cemetery in Southeast Asia, consisting of 910 tombstones containing the remains of members of the Japanese community in Singapore. It was gazetted as a memorial park by the Singapore government in 1987. Could this be a possible plan of conservation for the Hakka Cemetery?
如果拆的话，你有什么感觉？
应该拆会比较好啦。我们是没有问题，因为你拆了，可是我们要卖屋子，要什么东西要租我不怕人家会怕吗？所以拆会好。因为你给保留还是做个什么东西客家什么村有什么表演
你有听过他们有这个
应该好像我们茶秧工会什么每年又主办我们客家唱山歌什么像我们客家山歌你没有去看很好听的
那你觉得这个坟场有文化的价值吗？
有李光耀的祖先的坟场在这边。
李光耀的祖先的坟场。
他是客家坟场。
所以你也知道这里是客家的坟场。
客家人。对。
你觉得政府不会动这块地
因为很久了。要动早就动了。
想问一下你的看法，如果政府想把这块地这个坟场弄成很像一个有文化遗产的一个地方，所以很像可以带学生来啊，还是
有人带学生来，有人带安迪来参观
啊。可是如果我们把它弄成真的是很像一个博物馆啊，对，旅游胜地之类的，你对这样子的一个概念有什么样的看法？要很像
这是历史性来的。
你觉得有价值可以保留吗？
对。
就算你是客家人吗？
不是，我不是。
就算你不是客家人，你也是觉得这个地方
很久了，很久。就很亲切。
My last question is that if this place, right, were to be demolished,
it would be a pity if they demolish the HDBs here because they are quite they are about the new HDBs.
Oh,
yes.
So
I won't say new. They were the original HDBs.
Okay.
If it's just that side, I'm fine if they demolish it.
Would you feel it's better or?
I'm okay. I prefer if they didn't demolish it because if they demolish it, then they will build another high rise, which isn't really because too many blocks are too close together. So you see the space is quite wide here already. It's quite rare. Yeah, and then there is even though I'm going there later. There's a pond behind actually.
Yes.
Yeah, so I bring my kids over to the pond. We cycle in and then we go into the pond. Sometimes we cross it. It's nothing of course.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for space wise, it's quite spacious.
Yeah.
So actually, I prefer if they didn't demolish it.
Whether it is to revamp this cemetery into a cultural park or giving it a totally new identity, it is undeniable that the future of this Hakka Cemetery still remains uncertain. Although no concrete plans have been made yet, we hope that this piece of historically and culturally rich land will be preserved for the benefits of the future generations in time to come.